Well, I guess I'm bad at keeping secrets because I'm sure you've guessed by now, today I'm talking about SWAT Kats! SWAT Kats is one of the most unbelievably awesome shows ever, and it was produced by Hanna-Barbera of all people. Yeah, it took them several decades, but they finally did it! They made something that doesn't suck! Yeah, I know they've done a few other good things too, but just seeing a show like this come from Hanna-Barbera blows my mind. SWAT Kats premiered in the early 90s, during the time I like to call the era of anthropomorphic crime fighters. You see, after the success of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it seems that every studio tried to capitalize on similar ideas, just using different animals. And they tried everything: cats, dogs, mice, monkeys, ducks, cows, rabbits, fish, sharks, even dinosaurs. These shows had varying amounts of success and memorability, but SWAT Kats is easily the best of them all. The series takes place in the very creatively named Mega Cat City. Jake and Chance, two members of the city's police force called the Enforcers, inadvertently damaged their headquarters during a mission. After they're dishonorably discharged, they're ordered to work at a scrapyard until they can pay off the repairs of the building. Not content with this, they decide to take justice into their own hands by going after the city's criminals by themselves. They do so by constructing a jet named the Turbo Cat, along with several other vehicles, a wide variety of missiles and weaponry, and a fully functional secret underground hangar, and they built all of this in secrecy from stuff they found in the scrapyard. Wow, the A-Team, MacGyver, the Mythbusters, and Batman combined probably couldn't pull that off. So that's the origin of the SWAT Kats. T-Bone is the muscle and Razor is the brains. And he also has a catchphrase.
Bingo! 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 Dude, bingo!
Bingo?
Bingo! Bingo!
Bingo! Whoa!
It's a pretty typical sounding superhero story, and like any good superhero story, this show has a great supporting cast. There's the leader of the Enforcers, Commander Farrell, who often finds himself undermined by the SWAT Kats.
Back off, you vigilantes! The authorities are handling this!
If they'd held Morbulus until we arrived, he'd be in custody right now.
Thanks to them, half of Mega Cat City is without power!
I'm getting too old for this shit. But despite his hatred of the SWAT Kats, he's still a good cop, and in the end, he'll always do the right thing.
Wait! Farrell, put that thing down and we'll tell you the secret identities of the SWAT Kats!
Yeah, we found out who they are!
And so can you! Just let us go!
Yeah, that's the deal. Cause we ain't gonna be reprogrammed by Hackle, and we ain't going back to the Slammer!
I don't deal with scum.
In some episodes, we see his niece, Felina, who, despite her uncle's wishes, usually helps out the SWAT Kats. By the way, is it me, or does she look the most human of anyone else in this show? I guess she's more evolved. There's the mayor of Mega Cat City, who's a bit of a buffoon, but it's implied that he's a little corrupt.
Oh, yes! Why, it's the perfect place to house your corporate headquarters, Mr. Young!
He's sunk most of the city treasury into this place, but that's off the record.
Oh yeah, of course there's Callie, the deputy mayor, and the dream girl of every furry on the internet. Okay, look, I don't have a problem with furries. Whatever your preference is, it's none of my business. I just don't see why people find this character so attractive. I mean, she wears that pink business suit with high heels and dorky glasses, and she's got flowing blonde hair, and kind of a klutz, and holds a position of power, always getting into trouble. Damn it, man, get a hold of yourself. I mean, get a grip. I mean, stop it. Well, anyway, Kelly's role, besides getting tied up a lot, is to be the secret contact for the SWAT Kats and calls them whenever there's trouble. Though it's never explained how this happened. I assume it was when they saved her one of the many times her life was in danger. Damn it, we gotta move on! Let's look at some of the bad guys, because SWAT Kats has a really cool roster of villains. The first one we meet is this little guy simply called the Passmaster. His origin story is never fully explained. All we really know about him is he's some kind of undead sorcerer, and he can summon ancient creatures, which is pretty cool, but he's had a few unintentionally hilarious moments. Then there's there's Dr. Viper, voiced by Megatron himself, Frank Welker.
Let those fools waste their time. In 15 minutes, Mega Cat City will be mine!
He's a scientist who went mad with power and got mutated during a lab accident, so naturally he wants to do the same to everyone else. Yeah, great, he's stealing ideas from Cobra La. The main villain of the show, and by far the most mysterious, is Dark Cat. Unlike all the other villains of the show, we don't get to see his origin, and nor do we know much about him. All we really know is that he's constantly trying to destroy Mega Cat City. But why? What are his motives? Why does he have these little devil guys as minions? Is he a demon? An alien? They never explain. We're just meant to accept the existence of a giant purple cat creature. My favorite villains by far are Mac and Molly, the Metallic Cats, two escaped criminals who got into an accident and washed up on a beach where a scientist found them. In order to save their lives, he was forced to put their brains into robot bodies, and then they immediately turned on him and escaped. So much for Prime Directive 2.
You can't break Prime Directive 2.
The reason I like these two so much is mostly in the way they interact. They're married, so they bicker a lot, and every time they do, it just cracks me up.
Where did you learn to drive? The demolition derby?
So I ran a couple of stop signs.
Yeah, and here they all are. Since you're gonna make adjustments, why don't you make him taller?
And make her better looking.
Must you two always argue?
But even though they argue a lot, you can tell that deep down, they really care about each other.
Come on, Molly, say something. Go ahead, insult me. I won't even get mad.
Can I call you Bucket Butt?
Well, that's most of the cast. There were a few other villains too, but most of them were just one-shots. Now, as I said before, this show reaches unbelievable levels of awesome. And I think I can sum it all up with this clip.
Attention, all enforcer units. Mummies are attacking City Hall.
Mummies are attacking City Hall. Never in my life did I think I'd hear that sentence uttered. Mummies attacking City Hall. And, well... there you go, mummies attacking City Hall. That's one of the best things about this show. You never know what they're gonna throw at you next. Giant robots laying waste to a city? Done. Dinosaurs coming through a time portal? You bet. Aliens stealing the planet's water? Why the hell not? Hell, in the first episode, the SWAT Kats are sent back in time, and in order to get back, they need to power the Turbo Cat by harnessing the power of a volcano. In another episode, Dr. Viper flooded the city with giant mutant amphibians. Invasions of evil underground scorpion creatures, massive armadas of unknown origin, undead fighter pilots, anything is possible. Someone was seriously wired when they were writing this show.
Attention headquarters. This is Unit 1 in Mountain Sector. Requesting backup. We've got giant mummies, armed and dangerous.
And the dinosaurs come through the time portal and they fight off the robots, and then the aliens show up and they wake up the zombies. Ah! I am a god and I breathe life with my pen! Also, this show does not hold back. There were even a few moments where someone was straight up murdered on screen. Oh yeah, that just happened in a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Booyah! Smoke that bitch.
Now, as great as this show can get, it's not without its faults. For one, why hasn't Commander Farrell figured out that the SWAT Kats are the same big yellow cat and skinny orange cat that were thrown out of the Enforcers? How is it possible that no one has noticed the jet that keeps flying out of the scrapyard just outside of the city? Speaking of which, how big is Mega Cat City anyway? The way they fly over it makes it look like it just goes on and on. Does it just cover the entire planet like Coruscant? But you know what bugs me the most? Why don't the SWAT Kats wear shoes? And that's a minor complaint, I know, but I've seen it be an issue a few times. Hey guys, combat boots. They're your friends. Well, there might have been a few nitpicks and continuity problems, but there's more than enough mayhem to keep you from asking too many questions. SWAT Kats is an awesome show, and after almost 20 years, I'm proud to say it still holds up. Just don't expect too many deep story arcs or complex characters, but you can expect to be thoroughly entertained. It's a shame this show had such poor marketing. I didn't even know of its existence until long after its syndication. The DVD set didn't come out until 2010. There was also a small line of action figures, but those are hard to come by. And if I have trouble finding them, then you know they're rare. But I did manage to get my hands on one piece of SWAT Kats merchandise. SWAT Kats for the Super Nintendo. Let's take a look. Alright, SWAT Kats the Radical Squadron for the Super Nintendo. First you pick who you want to be, T-Bone or Razor. Razor can jump higher and can use a jetpack for a brief period, and T-Bone is stronger and can break through some walls. But for some reason the wall-breaking weapon has no effect on enemies. That makes no sense. You can pick a new character before each stage, but it would have been nice to switch out at will because sometimes you miss stuff only the other character can get. You start out by picking one of 4 numbered stages. You can choose whichever one you want, but I recommend playing them in order because the numbers indicate the difficulty. For the most part, it's a pretty standard platformer. You jump around, grab items, and fight off a lot of recognizable things from the show, but it's actually a little more intuitive because there's a leveling system. By killing enemies and collecting coins, you can increase your life bar and upgrade your weapon. The game controls pretty well, and you have a variety of moves and attacks. You can climb walls like in Ninja Gaiden. Unfortunately, the only way to dismount is by doing a flip that's hard to control, so you need to be careful if there's an enemy walking on a ledge you're climbing up to. This game is pretty challenging, and it likes to pull a lot of dick moves on you. Watch what happens here. Oh bullshit, how was I supposed to know that was there? Also, damage seems to be inconsistent. Some things will take away up to half your health, and some things will barely leave a scratch. Like the spikes. Isn't it video game law that spikes cause instant death? Man, the SWAT Kats must be more badass than I gave them credit for. Another annoying thing is the timer. It's common to see a timer in a platformer game, but this one is very inconsistent because it changes with each area. Sometimes you get plenty of time and sometimes you only get less than a minute. There were times where I just said fuck it and blew through the stage with no regard for my safety just to beat the clock. Though it's worse when you're stuck in an area you have no control over, like in this elevator. Let's go! The clock is ticking! After beating the 4 stages, you can access the 5th stage and go after Dark Cat in the hardest levels yet. I did manage to make it all the way up to Dark Cat, and hey, maybe we'll learn something about him. What the fuck? So he has some kind of H.R. Geiger cat monster that he can control. Wow, this never even happened in the show, and it just raises more questions. Well, anyway, it's still a pretty solid game, though one thing I don't understand is why is this a platformer and not a flying game? The Turbo Cat is one of the main parts of the show. In the game, there's only 3 parts where you use the Turbo Cat, but it's just a dizzying rail shooter. The missiles fly all over the place no matter how hard I try to aim, and you're stuck at the bottom, making dodging near impossible sometimes. Luckily, this part doesn't take away lives, so you can just keep at it. But overall, I would definitely recommend this game. Unfortunately, it's one of the rarest for the Super Nintendo, but if you have a chance to play it, I'd say check it out. Well, that's about it for SWAT Kats. Let's see, what should I do next? Video games. You know, the only video game cartoons I've done were of Mortal Kombat, so yeah. I think next time we'll look at something with a video game character. A certain blue video game character. Fuck. God damn it. Fucking powder. Shit. Oh. for you people.